My dear Gala, or formerly, I guess you're Galina. I wouldn't dare try to say your true Russian name. How are you? It's great to hear your lovely voice. I know I've told you, but I so love your accent, by the way. Oh, you know that I've started working with other puppets to do a series of videos to explain how Americans really need to learn that funerals are different everywhere. Yes, today I'm learning about Eastern European practices. Please stop me if I'm not learning correctly, Gayla. Overall, I understand that Eastern Europeans are highly religious and most often follow Orthodox or Christian traditions. I also have been reading that Eastern Europeans might mix in some folk religions into their customs. Have you seen the website www.funerals360.com? Type Eastern European at the end and you find a helpful few pages on history and customs. I just learned that the Orthodox Church officially separated from the Roman Catholic Church in 1054. That's 1054 AD. The Eastern Orthodox Church is the second most popular Christian church in the world, with over 225 million active worshipers. Most people live in Russia, Romania, Ukraine, and Greece. But as you well know, as you do, they live all over the world. First, I read that burial is the only choice because the dead person's body has to be returned to the earth. Those believers say that the soul reconnects with the body at the last judgment. So therefore, other funeral rites are forbidden. In the 3 days after someone's death, there are 3 steps. First, the body has to be washed thoroughly in a warm bath, which symbolically cleanses it of all its worldly sins. Second, the body is dressed in an all-white, handmade, if possible, clothing that represent the purity of the person. And a belt is put around the waist for the resurrection at the last judgment. And thirdly, the body is laid in an open casket at either the family's home or some kind of funeral home for a few days. The wait time is important so that the dead are not wakened prematurely. The traditional service starts the night before the actual funeral. Family and friends gather to view the deceased and start the official mourning. There's usually a prayer service where attendees each read different psalms alongside the casket. Once upon a time, those readings lasted all night until the actual funeral service started. On the third day, traditionally, is the actual funeral service and burying with an Orthodox church. Mourners wore black, and a woman who faced the death of her husband or child might wear black for a full year. After the formal ceremonies, male pallbearers traditionally carried the body on their back to the gravesite at the cemetery. The body's always transported feet first from place to place. Why? To deter the soul finding its way back home, which would delay the passage to the afterlife. But wow, Gayla, I had no idea that the spirit is expected to return back home for 9 days following death. Many Eastern European funeral traditions involve leaving out food, water, and vodka in the family home in reverence to that spirit returning. On the 40th day, the soul of the dead person is believed to receive its judgment and hence passes on to the afterlife. Unlike in Catholicism, there is no concept of a separate heaven and hell in Orthodox teaching. It's believed that everyone passes into the direct presence of God. If you're a believer, that is heaven. If you aren't, it will be hell. I also learned that the Orthodox culture really scorns suicide, and that made me sad. I wonder how much work today is being done in those countries to better understand the mental health issues related to people who die from suicide. To make them be buried in a separate cemetery seems really uncaring. Since the Eastern Orthodox doctrine supports sacrificing oneself for the good of others, organ donation is strongly encouraged. But Gayla, as I kept reading and asking questions, there's so many variations to what I just said about Eastern Orthodox deaths. And of course, personal choice, personal finances, family decisions, where the person lived, lots of things play a big part in the decision. Just like in traditional American funerals and deaths, there's no one right plan to follow. I have to add that I read in www.joincake.com in their article section about death and dying in different cultures that Eastern European may have family members stop all their clocks based on folk traditions and cover over all their mirrors because they want to avoid more deaths in the family. These decisions don't just happen, they're planned and thought out. Never again will I ask someone why they are or aren't doing some particular act for a funeral, for a memorial service, for a celebration, because it's very different, personal, and we're all individuals. The one thing is that your culture admits that we're all gonna die. If only everyone could just say that. Yeah, I'm aware that each country of Eastern Europe has specific traditions that I haven't referenced. Whether it's the folk traditions or performances or church rituals, there's a lot to experience. I keep wanting to learn. Thanks for confirming that I've got it kind of right. I'll talk to you again soon, I hope, Gayla. Bye. And you people out there, if you have more questions, please send them to us puppets so we can work on them. We want to help you learn. We're trying to learn too. Thanks for watching. Have a great life.